me to get there. And I'm like, you're already there. Charge your worth, you know.
So as a baker, if you give quality, your clients will definitely buy from you.
Road to success.
Unaweza fanya nini kwa dakika 4?
Na mega dola.
Unaweza piga chef.
Na mega dola. Kila kitu ni mega.
Unaweza pika ugali.
Na mega dola. Pesa hapa ni mega. Na mega dola.
Labda unaweza fua nguo.
Na mega dola.
Ama unaweza tengeneza milioni 30. 4 minutes are enough to win big with Mega Dollar. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, select Pay Bill, enter business number 295888, enter account name KBC, deposit 10 shillings or more, enter your PIN and press OK, then choose 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588. And you can win up to 30 million shillings every 4 minutes. Deposit, play and win with Mega Dollar. The big game for big winners.
Very good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. A big match is taking place. Actually, it's about to end. Gor Mahia is playing Algeria's side, USM Algiers. Of course, Gor Mahia having a red card. And those results, we are going to be bringing them to you. Welcome you to this edition of Channel 1 NewsHour on a day that President Uhuru Kenyatta bolstered Kenya's arsenal on the war against cybercrime with the stroke of a pen. Now it means that spreading false news will be a crime and it will attract millions of shillings or time in jail. And that story will be leading us to our opinion poll question tonight, where we're asking you, will the new cybercrimes law reduce cases of cyberbullying? Will the new cybercrimes law reduce cases of cyberbullying? Do share your thoughts with us. The number is 22162, or you can tweet me at Ed Kabasa, or you can tweet us at KBC Channel 1. But first, the highlight. Purveyors of fake news, be warned. President Uhuru Kenyatta signs the cybercrimes bill into law. Victims of Patel Dam tragedy Solai laid to rest in emotional send-off attended by leaders. Government assures Kenyans of security as Muslims commence the holy month of Ramadan. My name is Edward Kabasa. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Susan Tuku. A quick reminder, will the new cybercrimes law reduce cases of cyberbullying? Will the new cybercrimes law reduce cases of cyberbullying? Send in those thoughts. The number is 22162. Please do indicate your name and where you are watching us from. You can also share whether or not you have been bullied before. But President Uhuru Kenyatta has signed into law the controversial Computer and Cybercrimes Bill 2018, which in effect criminalizes abuse of persons on social media. The law that elicited protests from the media fraternity spells out a number of penalties, among them a 5 million shillings fine or a 2-year jail term for anyone publishing false information.
Social media has been credited as the fastest news avenue the world has ever had in the recent past. The platform has equally been criticized for flashing uncensored or fake news that has left its news consumers at crossroads and by extension, reputation of many dented. The government has moved into rein on the misuse of the social media by assenting into a law that criminalizes the vice. President Uhuru Kenyatta has subsequently signed into law the cybercrime bill. The bill that has been termed as draconian by a section of the media fraternity targets offenses related to computer systems that includes hacking of information and passwords, child pornography, cyber espionage, and publishing false information, among others. Some of the penalties include a fine of 5 million shillings or a 2-year jail term for false or fictitious information. The law also gives the authorities a leeway to search and seize stored computer data, record of and access to seized data, and interception of data, among others. The Cybercrimes Act also gives the green light for the establishment of a National Computer and Cybercrimes Coordinating Committee by the national government. Samson Kitavi, Channel 1 News.
And that story forms the basis of our opinion poll question tonight, where we are asking you, will the new cybercrimes law reduce cases of cyberbullying? Do send us your thoughts to 22162. You can also tweet us at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Ed Kabasa. Also on Facebook, KBC Channel 1. The battle for supremacy between the Senate and the National Assembly appears to have been reawakened, with the National Assembly accusing the Senate of overstepping its mandate in debating a money bill. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has written to the Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka, cautioning against duplication of rules following debate on the retirement benefits bill by the Senate. The Speaker says the bill has financial implications and falls under the jurisdiction of the National Assembly and not that of the Senate.
The battle for supremacy in the bicameral parliament appears far from over as both houses engage in duplication. Last month, both houses held committee sittings to probe the botched operations at Kenyatta National Hospital. Currently, Senate's Public Accounts and Investment Committee is probing the controversial acquiring of land of 2 public schools in Ruaraka, where the government has spent 1.5 billion shillings. The same matter is being handled by the National Assembly's Lands Committee, which has been inviting the same witnesses as the Senate. The National Assembly Minority Leader John Buddy views the duplication as a waste of public resources.
It is wastage of public resources to have 2 committees of parliament, National Assembly, Senate, going to investigate the same thing. If national security function is a national government function, why would the Senate committee also investigate the same matter? It doesn't make sense. The Ruaraka land should be investigated by the Lands Committee. But Public Accounts Committee, for heaven's sake of the Senate, where does the Senate come in, my friend?
The duplication of roles has also been witnessed at the Senate's plenary, where the retirement benefits for Deputy President bill is being debated despite being enacted by the National Assembly last year. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has written to the Senate counterpart Kenneth Lusaka, advising that given the bill is a money bill, it can only originate from the National Assembly. Mbadi now wants the two speakers to engage regularly to redefine roles of each house.
The Senate Clerk's office is failing the Senate. They should advise the Senate on the bills they can originate. They should advise the Senate on the bills that can go to the Senate. They should advise the Speaker. And by the way, you understand that in the history, I think, of the Commonwealth, we have a Speaker in the Senate who has never been a member of Parliament. I don't know how it has happened in Kenya. But I'm not undermining the capacity of Lusaka. Maybe he's a genius. Although I understand that for you to be a good speaker, you need to have participated in legislation.
Article 110 of the Constitution mandates the Senate to handle matters that touch on devolved functions and welfare of the counties, while the National Assembly handles national government issues. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Thank you very much, Kevin Washira, for that report. The battle for supremacy there. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his Deputy William Ruto led the nation in mourning the 48 victims of the Patel Dam tragedy in Solai, in Nakuru County. The head of state affirmed the government's commitment in alleviating water-related catastrophes, assuring victims of the ongoing floods of support.
A somber mood engulfed Solai area in Nakuru County as President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto and scores of leaders joined family, friends and locals in paying their last respect in honor of the 48 victims.
Tuko hapa siku ya leo kufariji pamoja nanyi na kuhakikishia ya kwamba Wakenya wako pamoja nanyi.
The head of state pledged the government's commitment in alleviating water-related catastrophes, even as he reassured victims of floods countrywide continued support.
Serikali itafanya lolote iwezavyo kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumesaidia hizo jamii. Hapa Solai tutasaidia Wakenya wote pahali walipo ambao pia wamepata shida.
The 48 met their death last Wednesday when Patel Dam burst its backs, following heavy rains that have been pounding the area. Survivors recounted the horrendous night events when muddy torrents of water swept through the sleepy energy village.
We, the church, are not only here as
Families have independently embarked on burial arrangements and will receive assistance from the government to offset funeral expenses.
We have somebody who is the father of mercy. Who is the father of mercy. His mercies is forever, his mercies is everywhere, and he walks with us even when our hearts, our minds are troubled.
The president pledged government support to reconstruct the ravaged schools and roads to the relief of residents seeking relief aid from well-wishers.
Shule hapa katika maeneo haya zimeathirika, sababu kuna shule ya Solai Nyakinywa, kuna Philadelphia Academy shule ya kibinafsi, ambao pia madarasa kama 5 yalisombwa na maji. Hizi shule pia ziliathirika sababu baadhi ya wazazi wa shule hizo walisombwa na maji na pia wanafunzi baadhi yao walisombwa na maji.
Deputy President William Ruto urging the citizenry to be proactive in preventing similar tragedies by promptly informing authorities. Uhuru also announced that 1,300 title deeds will be issued to the Nyakenywa area residents who have awaited the document for far too long. Rose Gakuo, Channel 1 NewsHour.
The number of people displaced owing to floods continue to rise after River Mutangunyi in Kirinyaga broke its banks in the wee hours of Wednesday. Hundreds of families were forced to flee as the raging waters marooned their homes. This comes as families in Embu are counting losses after Kariari swamp water spilled over, destroying their crops.
Statistics of the number of families forced out of their homes following heavy rains continue to rise, the latest victims being residents of Kerugoya in Kirinyaga County. Residents say the river broke its banks in the wee hours of the morning, leaving them with no time to salvage anything.
Mlango kasukuma ukaletwa mbele. Viti zile mwangua zakaliwa zilipelekwa kama gari.
Kitu saa 5:30 hiyo mlango ilipigwa na maji na force, tukakutwa mpaka ndani.
In Embu, the script was repeated. Kariari swamp spilled over, displacing more than 100 families in Dallas Estate.
Asubuhi kuna nyumba kadhaa hapa zimebomoka. More than 100 families. Leo jana wajalala na pia watoto wao wajaenda shule kwa sababu kumenyesha na mvua ikaweza kuingia kwa manyumba yao zikitumia kuingia na machoo na chini.
Maji yanazubua hizi kila miaka yote. Na manyumba watu wanatoa kodi.
Residents are now expressing fears of waterborne diseases after sewer lines burst. In Narok, residents of London Estate are pleading with the government to come to their rescue after their houses were washed away following flash floods.
Maji ilikuja mingi na haikuwa na mahali ya kwenda. So ilibidi maji ingie kwetu, ikabomoa ukuta na ikaweza kuingia mpaka kwa nyumba. Ni Mungu tu ya kwamba tulikuwa tumejisikia na tuliweza tu kuokoa tu jamii peke yao.
The locals are attributing the menace to poor drainage systems.
Drainage haijakuwa mzuri na pia wakaweka mawe sana wakakosa kulevel. So actually hapo ndipo shida imeanzia. Kwa hivyo mimi ningeomba ya kwamba county government liweze kusaidia kutengeneza hii barabara, wachibe chini na diposa maji basi ikaweza kupata njia yake.
And residents living along River Yala have been asked to be on the lookout after River Yala burst its banks owing to heavy rains. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1 News Hour.
Muslim faithful in Kenya are expected to join their counterparts across the globe in observing the holy month of Ramadan. As the season beckons, security agents have pledged to scale up surveillance, especially during the night prayers. Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent a message of goodwill to the Muslim brethren as they commence the month-long season for fasting.
Millions of Muslims around the world will observe the season of fasting in the holy month of Ramadan, which commences on the Thursday after the sighting of the new moon. President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent a message of goodwill to the Muslim brethren in Kenya. The head of state said the holy month of Ramadan is a period during which Muslims strengthen their faith. He encouraged all Kenyans to cherish unity while embracing the bonds that unite Kenyans. The Chief Qadi is expected to make the announcement after the moon is sighted to kick off fasting on Thursday. During the holy month, criminals elements often take advantage of the crowds in mosque to perpetrate crime. Coastal leaders speaking at Miroroni Primary School in Mombasa County called on the government to ensure maximum security for residents.
Kwa hivyo nachukua fursa hii kusisitiza kuwa usalama ni muhimu udumishwe katika kila sehemu ili kuweza kuona kwa waumini ambao watakuwa wakifanya ibada zao hata kwa wakati wa kuchelewa kwa usiku, wao wataweza kufanya ibada hizo bila kusumbuliwa na bila hofu ya uhalifu mahali popote.
As security agents have assured residents in Mombasa that they will ensure increased surveillance, especially during the night prayers.
Tumetangaza vita kali sana. Yeyote kasi yake ni ya uhalifu. Yeyote kasi yake ni kusumbua watu wetu. Tunasema hatutapombelezana na hawa, tutapambana na hawa vilivyo kwa sababu waliotuajiri wamesema wamechoka na wataki kusumbuliwa.
Sami'allahu liman hamida.
During the day, Muslims are expected to abstain from eating and drinking and are encouraged to focus on meditative acts like prayer, reading the Quran and charity. Fasting is recommended throughout the season, but the expectation for children, the elderly, the sick, expectant, or nursing women and people who are traveling.
And to political matters, where controversial lawyer Miguna has postponed his much-hyped return into the country indefinitely. Miguna, who had announced he will return to Kenya today, faulted the Immigration Department of failing to issue him with a Kenyan passport as ordered by the courts to facilitate his re-entry.
The self-declared general, who had announced he will re-enter the country on Wednesday, was forced to cancel his planned travel at the last minute. Miguna pointed an accusing finger at the Immigration Department, accusing them of failing to issue him with a Kenyan passport to facilitate his re-entry. He says he has instructed his lawyers to return to court. The self-styled general was deported twice after confrontation between him and security officers. Separately, Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua has made changes in the county executive, nominating new members to serve as county executive committee members. The governor only retained 3 ministers in the health, water and tourism docket.
I will be making further appointments in the following few weeks as we reorganize the government to serve Wananchi better and to align it to the Super Maendeleo chapter philosophy, which was the basis for my re-election.
He also nominated his deputy Francis Maliti to serve in the finance docket.
I have assigned my deputy governor, Francis Maliti, the responsibility of running the finance and economic planning portfolio. I've also appointed the following. 1. George Kiokoluka as an advisor of economic affairs.
And in Kisii, a head count for the county employees has been launched. Kisii Governor James Ongwae cited a ballooning wage bill, adequate capacity building, and budget deficit as some of the constraints to be tackled.
We could be having problems of what other county governments have also got, of staff who probably have reached 60 years and have not been removed from the payroll because of the transition mix, the transitional problems.
In Homa Bay, county assembly members are up in arms, accusing the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission of allegedly abetting corruption.
That all the anti-corruption personnel dealing with any case touching on Homa Bay County should be transferred immediately.
We are sitting on corruption. We are sitting on a time bomb because we are sugarcoating the executive. Count me out of it.
They are now demanding the immediate transfer of EACC officials in the county. And the Ati Member of Parliament, William Kamket, said those behind the fresh scam in the National Youth Service are the same people who looted from the public coffers in the previous government.
Wanaenda kuiba pesa, wale waliiba pesa NYS last year ni wale. Tunajua. Wacheni kutudanganya kwamba atijulikani ni nani ameiba hii pesa. Inajulikana.
The National Youth Service is said to have lost close to 10 billion shillings in a new scandal. Samson Kitavi, Channel 1 News.
Thank you very much, Samson Kitavi, for that report. A quick break here, but before we take that break, a quick reminder of our opinion poll question tonight. We are asking you, will the new cybercrimes law reduce cases of cyberbullying? Will the new cybercrimes law reduce cases of cyberbullying? I have a couple of text messages here. I will read one. You don't say name, but you're saying yes, it will. And then another one here from Ian, writing to us from Kakamega. You're saying also, yes, it will. Keep sending us those thoughts. The number is 22162. You can also tweet us at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Edgar Bars.
The Easy Banking app is your bank anywhere, anytime.
Everything you do at the bank is on Easy Banking app. You can use the app to send money, pay bills, buy and pay for goods and services, access easy loans, check the status of your account, save for future goals, and so much more. And now you can enjoy an even better banking experience with the just updated Easy Banking app. Loaded with a great suite of powerful features, so you're always in control of your banking lifestyle wherever you are. Download the Easy Banking app from Google Play Store or App Store and link your Equity Bank account. If you do not have an Equity Bank account, open one hapo from the app. Easy Banking. Experience convenience in life.
This week on KBC Channel 1.
Kusimama na magoti, halafu unawekelea kidogo.
Kama kidogo, shika magoti. Mimi nimesimama kama ngongoti. Karibu katika mahanja.
Women have proved to be better family managers than men all across Africa.
Women and men have both equal opportunities. So if women are the key, what are men supposed to be?
Najua kina Kamau ni shingo na wax.
Get out of here.
Wewe ni watchman. Ni Shiro, sijui kuambia kazi mvanya. Shiro. Nataka kuangalia hivi nijue kama unaweza uwa na unazika.
You find out who led that ground operation and get him in front of me yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Mine is moving merchandise and making money.
Save a date this Saturday, the 19th May 2018 from 10 a.m. and join us live on KBC Channel 1 as we take you to Windsor Castle for a royal treat where Henry Charles Albert David, commonly known as Prince Harry, marries Meghan Markle. Take the front row seat as we bring you the all-important close-ups. Be part of the millions in the world who will be watching the royal wedding.
Welcome back to the program. 3 suspects among the 5 accused of attacking Nairobi Central Business District Association Chairman Timothy Muriuki have been arraigned in court and charged with robbery with violence. The trio denied the charges and were each released on a cash bail of 200,000 shillings pending the hearing of their case. Ben Chumba covers that for us.
Just a few hours after the men who were classified by authorities as fugitives of the law surrendered themselves to detectives at the Central Police Station, the trial were arraigned in court. Dishon Peter Mulinge, Ronald Onyango Otieno, and Michael Mbanya Wadhigo are among 5 people accused of robbery with violence against the former NCBDA chair at a hotel in Nairobi where he lost 100,000 shillings. They denied the charges and were released on a cash bail of 200,000 shillings pending their trial. The prosecution has requested the case to be consolidated with that of Yala Member of Parliament Simon Bugwa and 3 others who were arrested and charged last week in connection with the incident. Elsewhere, the founder of St. Mary's Mission Hospital, Father William Charles Freda, has been charged with forgery. Father William is accused of issuing false documentation and conspiring to defraud the hospital. He pleaded not guilty and was released on a cash bail of 300,000 shillings. The priest has been involved in ownership dispute with a group of sisters at St. Mary's Hospital in Nakuru who moved to court accusing Father William of going against the code of conduct. Finally, a total of 236 cases of remandees at Kericho Main and Women Prison are being reviewed by the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions. According to Senior Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions Alois Kebo, the exercise at Kericho Main Prison is targeting to fast-track some of the cases that have been pending in court for a long time. Ben Chumba, reporting for Scales of Justice.
Thank you very much, Ben Chumba, for that report. Burundi's electoral agency, Seni, has undertaken to oversee a free and fair electoral process in Thursday's referendum on constitutional change. The commission chairperson, Ambassador Pierre Ndaikaviye, says the results will reflect the will of the people of Burundi. And as Eric Begon reports from Bujumbura, the electoral body chief expressed confidence on the country's security situation ahead of the much-awaited referendum.
4.7 million Burundians will be going to the polls Thursday to take part in a referendum that will decide whether the country will adopt a new constitution or not. On its part, the country's electoral agency, Seni, has undertaken to carry out a free, fair, and credible exercise.
We are doing well. We hope tomorrow, on 17th of May, Burundi people will vote peacefully and they will respect the law. We asked our representatives in the provinces, in the communes, and in the polling station to do their job according to the law.
Commission Chair Pierre Ndaikaviye says the outcome that will be delivered by the electoral agency will reflect the will of the people.
If yes wins, we will say it's democracy. If no is the winner, we say it is also the people's choice. We ask people to respect the outcome of this election.
The country's citizens also heard their say regarding Thursday's historic referendum.
Tunajiandaa kwa kesho kwa kwenda kufanya uchaguzi wa referendum. Sisi tunajiandaa si Warundi kati ya kutafuta uhuru uzuri, tunatoka mikono ya wazungu.
Tunashukuru Mungu na hiyo siku najua itakuwa bien sana, Mungu anasaidia. Juu tukashasikia maneno mengi, watu wanasema vitu binafsi, lakini kwa hii sana dakika tunashukuru sana, tena tunafurahi kwa nchi yetu ya Burundi kuona inafika matora kama hii, tuko salama. Amani sana kwa nchi ya Burundi. Kwamba ikikuwa ni Mrundi ko nje arudi ndani ya nchi yake, kuna usalama, hata moto zinatembea saa 6 usiku, kuna amani, tunaishi ndani ya soko kwa amani, ndani ya kazi kwa amani, kila mtu anapofanya kazi zake kwa usalama.
Seni says the exercise will be conducted in all parts of the country, even as it dismissed fears that voting may not take place in other areas due to insecurity. The outcome of the poll is expected latest Saturday. The situation inside Bujumbura and most parts of Burundi is calm as residents await Thursday's referendum, where they will vote either yes or no to a new constitution. Reporting for Channel 1 from the country's capital, Bujumbura, my name is Eric Biegon.
Thank you very much, Eric Begon. That's our reporter in Burundi. He has been covering that for us. Of course, he is going to be making sure that he documents every step of the way. That referendum will be coming in a couple of hours from now. Eric Begon will be bringing us up to date with that. 89 youth and women formerly involved in the sale and production of illicit brew in Kisumu County have been trained and equipped with skills to engage in alternative income-generating activities under the program Eshima, spearheaded by a local brewing company. 2,000 youth and women from 10 counties will benefit. Achola Simon with that report.
The 89 youth and women are the first batch of 2,000 people targeted to benefit from the program spearheaded by the Kenya Breweries and Africa Initiative for Rural Development.
So what Project Heshima is about, it's a vocational training program that takes people who can enter into the habit of illicit brew, whether it's production or consumption of the same.
The program seeks to equip youth and women involved in the illicit brew trade with vocational training skills as a means of encouraging alternative income-generating activity.
And we train these people through a program of about 3 to 6 months, depending on your program. You graduate from this program, and after that, we don't leave you high and dry. We make sure that we place you either in employment, or if you're taking the entrepreneur program, you are given a chance to start a business.
Before I meet Eshima project, I didn't know anything about electrical installation. But after meeting them, I study, and now I know much more about electrical installation, and I can do wiring well.
The program will also be implemented in 10 other counties, including Homa Bay, Migori, Machakos, Makueni, Nakuru, Murang'a, Kiambu, Kwale, and Nairobi counties. The 89 youth and women were directly involved in the sale and production of illicit brew in Kisumu County.
Again, for the 89 of you, congratulations. Congratulations again. Go out there and become good ambassadors, become influencers, become people with testimony, that people will look at you and be happy and say, wow, if huyu alibadilika na mimi pia sometime, let me look for a way out and leave what I'm doing.
People are suffering. Part of my world is a slum, or Bunga slum. And what is happening right now is giving me the true and clear picture of what Bunga looks like. Sometimes I shed tears and I cry because I do not know how to help my people. Many of them are drinking, homeless. They do not know what to do.
The Kenya Breweries Limited head of sustainability, Jean Carrier, said the project hopes to reduce involvement of youth and women in the illicit brew trade. Achola Simon for Channel 1 News from Kisumu County.
A middle-aged man has been arrested in Matete, Kakamega County for allegedly defiling his 1.5-year-old daughter. Separately, transport was paralyzed along the Thika Garissa highway for over 6 hours as irate truck drivers protested. They accused the police of illegally impounding vehicles and demanding for bribes to release the vehicles. More details in the county briefs.
These were the scenes along Thika Garissa highway. Trucks parked on the road for kilometers. The truck drivers protesting the impounding of 60 lorries ferrying sand. They accused the officers from Kenha and the police of allegedly demanding 100,000 shillings to release the vehicles. The police were forced to fire tear gas to clear the roads after over 6 hours of a standoff. And in Kakamega, a middle-aged man was caught in the act of defiling his 1.5-year-old daughter. His wife is said to have laid a trap after suspecting her husband was engaging in the indecent act with his daughter. He is currently in police custody, waiting to be arraigned in court.
Jumapili jioni. Sasa nilimpatia mtoto na nilikuwa nimechuna mboga alafu nilikuwa nataka niita nitoondoe kwa nyumba. Alafu nikasema huyu mtoto kwa nini ananisumbua kila siku nikitipu kila wakati. Sasa nikajificha. Bila kujificha nikapata amechukua mtoto amemfungua suruali na anamtumia huko nyuma.
And in Kiambu County, a 7-year-old girl is at the center of a custody battle between her father, who is a widower, and her aunt. The girl's aunt is reported to have kidnapped her and reported her as a missing person. The girl's father later learned that she was at his late wife's sister's home, sparking a legal battle. The girl is currently in the custody of Children's Services. In Embu, a section of residents living in the 44,000-acre Mwea irrigation scheme in Mbeere South, Embu County, are threatening to forcefully occupy the land if the government does not resume a resettlement exercise in 2 weeks. The residents are accusing the government of delaying the resettlement under the pretext of insecurity amid claims of a plot to give the land to powerful individuals. Separately, in Turkana County, transport along the busy Lodwar-Kakuma road was brought to a slow crawl as frustrated Turkana residents took to the streets. The locals were protesting against the recent spate of killings over the contentious Kapedo Center.
Sisi hatuko tayari kufanya MOU yoyote kwa sababu kama yeye ameshindwa kutafuta ile vitu ambavyo Mungu ametupatia, aombe Mungu mafuta ilibuke kwake. Aombe Mungu chochote ambacho tumepata itokee pia kwake. Sisi hatukujiweka hizo vitu, ni Mungu ndiye aliamua kutuweka mahali hapa na ile vitu vyote ambavyo tuko navyo.
In Mandera County, the area governor Ali Roba and county commander Suleiman Rashid have assured quarry workers of their security. This follows the killing of 4 quarry workers in a terror attack, prompting the county government to suspend all quarry activities as they tackle insecurity.
Raia pamoja na viongozi wa security, viongozi wa county, tushirikiane tuone vile tunaweza kuweka mkakati ya tahadhari ili tuweze kuhakikisha watu wasiathirike na hiyo shida.
Victor Moyakane, Channel 1.
And another break here, but before we do that, once again, a quick reminder of the opinion poll question. Tonight we'll be asking you, will the new cyber crimes law reduce cases of cyber bullying? I have a couple of SMSs here. I will take two. Yes, it will, depending on the penalties. My name is Christopher from Migori County, from Makalda. Thank you very much. We did a story about Makalda mines. I hope you are carrying on very well. And I have another one here. You do not leave your name, but you're saying if the government will be following those laws strictly, then the cyber crimes will be curbed. But if that doesn't happen, then the laws will be in vain. The number is 22162. You can also tweet us at KBC Channel 1. Business News is next.
Every 4 minutes is a chance for you to win big with Mega Dollar. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, enter paybill number 295888, account name KBC, and amount from 10 shillings or more. Then select your 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588. You can win up to 30 million shillings. Start playing now and win. Mega Dollar. Big winners every 4 minutes.
Najua kwenye Alex.
Nani amekuuliza?
Najua kina kama walishindwa na wax.
Get out of here.
Wewe ni watchman. Ni Shiro, sije kuambia kazi Mungu bana. Shiro. Naweza kuangalia hivi nijue kama unaweza ua na unaweza zika.
Isaka, Tiffany.
So sweet news of our best friends. Take it slow, Shiro. We're not yet there.
Mine is moving merchandise and making money. So why don't you give me my money and get your little homie Chewy there to move and get my plane loaded.
That's my car! Hey, get airborne!
You find out who led that ground operation and get him in front of me yesterday.
Yes, sir.
What the hell? These kids are out of their minds.
Good evening, I'm Regina Manyara-Gita, and now we shift focus from matters politics and get into matters business. Now, Kenya is looking into increasing the use of artificial intelligence in areas such as health, education, finance, agriculture, and transportation. ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Mushero noted that with recent advances in artificial intelligent machines are gaining the ability to learn, improve, and make calculated decisions in ways that enable them to perform tasks previously thought to only rely on human experience. According to the CS, however, this is not aimed at having machines replace humans in workplaces, but open the door to unexploited employment opportunities.
Kenya, as well as most African countries, have been playing catch-up in, among others, the digital divide, and now the impending intelligence divide, evidenced by jitters arising as to whether the country should welcome emerging technologies, such as distributed ledgers and blockchain technologies. To leverage on the numerous opportunities arising from artificial intelligence, the government has formed a task force to evaluate how best Kenya can enhance the uptake of technology to be used in areas such as telemedicine, education, finance, agriculture, manufacturing, and effective language translations.
The future will see artificial intelligence play a prominent role in our lives because machines can execute repetitive tasks with higher precision than people. We now have devices with the ability to learn, improve, and make calculated decisions in ways that enable them to perform functions that were exclusively reserved for human involvement, creativity, and ingenuity. This does not take away the role of the human. In fact, it creates more role for us. So the mundane work is taken away and we get to do many more.
The government is speeding up policy formulation to support emerging technology.
Technology will also allow us to explore the adoption of telemedicine and use of artificial intelligence capabilities for diagnosis. The way we are going with artificial intelligence, there's going to be an intelligence divide where all our technology and languages and all that will be out and we'll just be relying on imported intelligence. So let's take time to build on that.
According to the Communications Authority, out of the 8,500 public secondary schools targeted to be connected with high broadband connectivity in the next 5 years, 896 of them are set to be connected by the end of this year. This is in addition to this expanding network connectivity in 202 marginalized sublocations with a population of 700,000 persons.
We are currently prioritizing the closing of gaps in 202 sublocations to reduce the depicted cap of 5.6% of the population to 2.8 within this period, where the authority targets to connect all the 8,500 public secondary schools in Kenya to high-speed broadband connectivity over the next 5 years. This initiative aims at enhancing the delivery of educational content and quality learning facilitated by ICT platform.
Nicholas Ndwati, NewsHour Business.
Now, goods shipped through the Eldoret International Airport will be subjected to a rigorous scanning and inspection as the government steps up the fight against importation of contraband products. This emerged as state agencies destroyed counterfeit and illegally imported goods at the Bamburi Cement main plant in Mombasa. The goods comprised expired rice, spaghetti, and used tires imported from Pakistan and Italy that had been nabbed at the port of Mombasa and the Eldoret International Airport.
5 containers of contraband rice shipped from Pakistan, 4 containers of substandard and expired spaghetti from Italy, as well as condemned used tires valued at 15 million shillings have been incinerated in Mombasa today. 2 containers of used clothes and shoes from China were also condemned as state agencies intensify the fight against the illicit trade.
The multi-agency team has a list of all the owners of all these containers. Admittedly, some of these containers, once they were discovered to be substandard, some of the owners have gone underground, but where the owners are known, they are going to be prosecuted.
Eldoret International Airport was identified as the second leading contraband importation point, with government officials announcing plans to step up checks at the facility as well as other cargo across all entry points.
We are sending a clear message to those who are smuggling these containers, these products through some other routes, because there are routes that they use in this country, the Panya routes, that as soon as we get them, we're going to destroy them and the law will go after them.
The 10 containers are part of the 163 containers loaded with goods valued at 250 million shillings, which have been earmarked for distractions in the coming weeks.
It's not a war we have just started and it will take a while. We will sustain it long enough to ensure that we wipe out these products in our market, in order for us to have an environment for legitimate products to be able to be traded. And our manufacturers in Kenya can then be able to begin to be competitive enough.
Juni Karisa from Mombasa County.
Now, financial inclusion in Kenya has nearly doubled to 81% over the last 10 years, mainly driven by mobile money. The International Finance Corporation says mobile money, whose introduction in Kenya resulted in a 2% reduction in poverty, is driving innovation around micro-lending and micro-investment and retail payments. IFC has identified mobile money and agency banking as the latest platforms to expedite financial inclusion in sub-Saharan Africa.
Even as Kenya rides on the success of M-Pesa revolution and innovation that has ensured financial inclusion among Kenyans, the International Finance Corporation says Kenya
Najua kwenye Alex.
Nani amekuuliza?
Najua kina kama walishindwa na wax.
Get out of here.
Wewe ni watchman. Ni Shiro, sije kuambia kazi mvanya. Shiro. Nataka kuangalia hivi nijue kama unaweza ua na unaweza zika.
Isaka! Tiffany!
So sweet news of course our best friends. Take it slow, Shiro, we're not yet there.
This week on KBC Channel 1.
Kazo. Niropi, kwa nataka audio DJ nicheze hiyo wimbo kusimama na magoti, halafu unawekelea kidogo.
Kama kidogo, shika magoti. Nimesimama kama ngongoti.
Karibu katika mahanja.
Women have proved to be better family managers than men all across Africa.
Women and men have both equal opportunities. So if women are the key, what are men supposed to be?
Najua kina kama walishindwa na wax.
Get out of here.
Wewe ni watchman. Ni Shiro, sije kuambia kazi mvanya. Shiro. Nataka kuangalia hivi nijue kama unaweza ua na unaweza zika.
You find out who led that ground operation and get him in front of me yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Mine is moving merchandise and making money.
Apologies about that technical hitch, and we revert to what the financial inclusion in Kenya has nearly doubled to 81% over the last 10 years, mainly driven by mobile money. The International Finance Corporation says mobile money, whose introduction in Kenya resulted in a 2% reduction in poverty, is driving innovations around micro-lending, micro-investment and retail payments. IFC has identified mobile money and agency banking as the latest platforms to expedite financial inclusion in sub-Saharan Africa.
Even as Kenya rides on the success of M-Pesa revolution and innovation that has ensured financial inclusion among Kenyans, the International Finance Corporation says Kenya must grow the small and medium enterprises sector to help absorb the growing number of youth joining the job market.
You really start to think about entrepreneurial young people starting businesses, and I think that's what is really exciting when we look at financial inclusion and the digital financial services going forward, because what we've seen is that for the unbanked, this is a fantastic entry into the financial services area, and as Ruth said, the movement from product to product helps with the sophistication and the growth of the companies and allows them to create more jobs.
Project found that there was a higher demand for savings than for credit. Typically, we far outreach the savings targets. And there's many reasons why people are credit averse, not only related to interest rates, but generally, it's been a tough environment in Africa, in many markets from a global sense, a macro sense.
The latest Digital Access report by the International Financial Corporation and MasterCard indicates that digitalization of financial services is helping reduce the number of unbanked people around the world, with Africa in the lead.
In a very tough environment with difficult infrastructure, people have been able to gradually build their savings, expand their businesses, and all of this because of great commitment by the provider.
43% of adults in sub-Saharan Africa are now banked, from 23% 7 years ago, which has enabled access to financial tools to grow small-scale businesses, plan for the future of household expenses, and cope with emergencies.
Across the sub-Saharan African region, 43% of the people now have access to financial services, which means almost half the adult population. And a key part of this spectacular improvement has been around the digital financial services, which have gone from 12% to 21%. Kenya is clearly leading the continent, and it's clear now that other parts of Africa are picking up quickly the tools that have been developed here, the digital tools here in Kenya, and using them across other parts of Africa.
The Bretton Woods Institution says financial inclusion is a means to an end and a catalyst for equitable development and inclusive growth. Judith Akolo, Channel 1 Business.
Now, Amu Power Company Limited has entered into an investment and collaboration agreement with General Electric that will see the Lamu coal-fired power plant use the latest advanced clean coal technology that minimizes emissions. Amu Power Managing Director Francis Njogo says the project will immediately kick off once they secure approval from the National Environmental Management Authority. The deal will see General Electric, through its affiliates, acquire a stake in Amu Power subject to approval.
Roughly 975 acres of land has been acquired for construction of the 200 billion shillings Lamu coal-fired power project that is expected to generate 1,050 megawatts. Though the project has received backing from the government, it has, however, faced a lot of opposition from the local residents as well as environmental activists, citing degradation.
With this announcement, now we're going to go back and start explaining to the people what an ultra supercritical plant is, and more important, what it means to them in terms of even more stringent emissions controls, isn't it?
Under the partnership, General Electric will avail the latest technology, which minimizes emissions for use in constructing the coal power plant in return for a stake in Amu Power.
The maintenance of the plant is of a certain standard. The parts of the plant is of a certain standard. The advisory in terms of how it's operated is of a certain standard, to ensure the commitments made now are actually achieved.
Yes, and the most sophisticated, what we call emission control systems, which is really the systems which will capture these emissions and prevent them from going in the atmosphere and therefore affect the local populations.
This does not come at any cost increment to the consumer. We are on a fixed tariff that was signed at the time of award of the contract.
Construction of the project will immediately kick off once NEMA Tribunal gives it approval and take 42 months to complete construction.
This gets set aside. The only thing we can say is immediately that a decision is arrived at, and if it's a positive decision, we are ready to go. Our commitment is 42 months of construction, but at month 36 we will have first power from the first unit, and then month 39 the next unit, and the third unit will come in month 42.
Upon completion, the Lamu coal-fired power plant will account for up to 30% of Kenya's installed capacity.
Now, the European Union has signed a 120 million shillings investment grant with Makueni County Government to support value addition of mangoes and other fruits. Makueni Governor Professor Kivuda Kibwana says the cash will finance expansion of the mango puri project to reduce post-harvest losses.
Early last year, Makueni County Government revived 2 fruit processing plants in a bid to process 20,000 metric tons of mangoes that the county produces annually and reduce post-harvest losses, as well as stabilize the prices in that area. The plant has received a boost after the European Union signed a multi-million shilling investment grant to expand the plant's capacity.
Not starting from scratch, we're adding to an already existing program where you have already shown the vision, the capacity to implement, and we already see the results on the ground that we're just building on further. So it holds a lot of promise.
The grant, which is part of the EU's Instrument for Devolution Advice and Support Program, is expected to assist the mango puree plant to increase its production and reduce post-harvest losses.
About 12,000 families farm mango. And previously, those mangoes were bought for us on 3 shillings per kilo. But through now this facility, in the last season, we are offering like 15 shillings, 15 shillings per kilo. So although this is starting, of course when it starts with its problems.
The Ministry of Devolution has constituted a technical assistance team that will assist counties which grant proposals for the EU program.
Encourage other counties to be able to come up with the requirements that we have given them, so that they are able to also get this money. We do not wish to have money from donors lying around here without being utilized.
That sets a cap on Matters Business this evening. Edward Kabasa is on the other side of the studio with what has been happening in the sporting arena. I'm Regina Manyara Gitao. Have a pleasant evening ahead.